everyone. My courtesy to our Professor Dr. Jose Antonio Guntalidad. Sir, good afternoon. This afternoon, I will tackle general pedagogical knowledge, pedagogical adaptivity in written lesson plans and instructional practice among pre-service teachers. The authors are Johan Koenig, Albert Bremeritz, Vos Christian Botshol, and Rina Glatz of 2020. Alain G. Bernardo, the presenter. This study was focuses on the demand of pedagogical adaptivity, the ways in which the lesson assignments fit with the cognitive level of learners so that they are guided into their zone of proximal development. This conceptualization is operationalized by using several indicators, content analysis criteria. To reconstruct and qualify situation-specific planning, perception, interpretation, and decision-making, we use the data from 172 pre-service teachers in Germany with their first demonstration lesson during induction. It says that teacher education is in many countries worldwide aims at preparing high-quality teachers and supporting pre-service teachers' development and professional competence. Pedagogical adaptivity in written lesson plan. Lesson planning is changing tasks teachers have to master their daily work, whereas declarative knowledge is supposed to provide relevant basic teachers planning in highly context dependent. Since teachers are required to address their planning to the relevant learning group, this relates the teachers' actions such as assessing students' state of knowledge, setting learning goals, considering and judging on appropriate learning strategies to be implemented into the classroom of a particular learning group. Paper and pencil tests comprising items in planning aspects in general might therefore fail to address the conceptual nature of the complexity of the classroom situation teachers have to account for. The research method of this study was the sample and the measure. The data derives from the Van Planvold D project, the empirical research study conducted in Germany in 2016 in order to investigate the planning competence of German language pre-service teachers, were sampled in two federal states, North Rhine-Westphalia and Berlin. The North Rhine-Westphalia is the region not only with the largest number of students and in pre-service teachers in Westphalia is in Germany, but also covers 20% to 25% of the students is pre-service teacher. The sample consists of pre-service teachers attending a teacher education program that could qualify them as lower secondary teacher only. In Berlin, the corresponding teacher education program was focused on comprehensive teacher education program that could qualify pre-service teacher as lower and upper pre-service teacher. The sample consists of 378 pre-service teacher. Research assistant of the project team administered a paper pencil test questionnaire that the pre-service teacher were asked to complete under observation. Questionnaire include the standardized test to assess pre-service teacher or the general pedagogical knowledge or GPK. After the survey, pre-service teachers were asked to submit a copy of the written plans to their first demonstration lesson and to complete a short questionnaire related to the execution of the lesson. The pre-service teacher general pedagogical knowledge or GPK was assessed during the paper pencil test. The second one, they are asked to submit a written plan for the first demonstration lesson. These written plans were used to capture pedagogical adaptivity. And the final one, the third one, the teacher teaching the lesson, they had to complete a short questionnaire capturing their self-report instructional practice related to the specific lesson. Pre-service teacher or GPK was measured using pedagogical adaptivity in written lesson plans. Pre-service teachers or GPK was measured using a test that was developed in the context of IEA's Teacher Education and Development Study, Mathematics or TEDS, which provide the test concept can be characterized. The teacher's GPK to be structured in a task-based way and explicitly not according to the formal structure of general pedagogy as academic discipline. It aspects to regard instruction as the core activity of teachers, so the central demand placed on the teachers are clearly related to the study cognitive learning. Operationalize of teacher or GPK refers to the extensive research on instruction and effective teaching. 40 items, the questionnaire composed of 40 items only. They are divided into two areas. They have 36 being dichotomous. Dichotomous means two option, maybe true or false or yes or no. 4 partial credits. What is 4 partial credits? Partial credit is, the formula is n equals the number of answer for the particular test. Its correct responses receive partial credits. Example, there are 5 correct answers. Its correct answer would not worth 1 point. Items with difficult numbers of correct answers will have different number of score points. In order to investigate pedagogical adaptivity in written lesson plan, in order to investigate pedagogical adaptivity, pre-service teacher in written lesson plan has a situation-specific skills. The written plans of demonstration lesson were analyzed and indicators created on basis of existing coding system. Develop a previous study of Koenig et al. 2015. The coding system differentiates indicators into 4 components. The first components describe level written plans in analyze whether the learning group is described. And the second components descriptive information is given for the learning task that primarily governs students' activity during the lesson. The third components, analytical level. Plans are analyzed whether the description given by a pre-service teacher for his or her specific learning group and the learning task or task planned are logically and pedagogically consistent. And the last one is plans are analyzed whether such adaptive teaching is linked to other important elements of planning such as connection of learning goals. Coding example and scaling and reliability. When submitting a copy of the written lesson plans, first demonstration lesson, pre-service teachers were also asked to complete Complete a short questionnaire related to the execution of the lesson comprising 22 items describing their instructional practice delivering to students during the specific lesson. Items are conceptualized related to the three basic dimensions of instructional quality: the effective classroom management, cognitive activation, constructive report. As pre-service teacher in Germany, use individual formats to written their lesson plans. The length will be controlled by using dichotomous variable, with 0 is a short version up to 4 pages and 1 to 5 pages or more. Besides age and gender of pre-service teacher, we controlled for teaching type using dummy. The result, effect of general pedagogical knowledge or GPK of adaptivity. Effect of pedagogical adaptivity in self-report instruction in practice, result of differentiated instruction. And effect of pedagogical adaptivity in written lesson plans. Effect of pedagogical adaptivity. Its pedagogical activity serve as the dependent, and the general pedagogical knowledge or GPK serve as the independent variable. GPK as integrated as an overall test score, followed by more differentiated models of GPK subscales. Several variables are controlled, such as the age, the gender, and also the GPA. But not only the length of written plans and the differentiation into lower and upper secondary teaching type in North Rhine-Westphalia. Two types turn into the significance. The study, the effect of pedagogical adaptivity in self-reported instruction practices. As finding shows, pedagogical adaptivity significantly predicts the instructional practice scales, differentiated instruction. However, it does not significantly predict the other instructional practice scales, neither in the area of classroom management, nor in the area of cognitive activation. Also, it does not significantly predict the other subscales in the area of constructive support. However, at least of the later two subscales, stimulating students' cognitive independence and encourage students. Predictors were positive and reached the lower level of the small partial relevance. Summarized findings, we specified the PATH model when the subscale of general pedagogical knowledge or GPK of adaptivity as an antecedent and instructional practice or aspect of differentiated instruction as outcome pedagogical adaptivity in written lesson plans. As previous analysis have demonstrated, GPK of adaptivity affects pedagogical adaptivity and later effect of the teacher's candidate rating for the instructional practice to the lesson regarding how he or she develop differentiated instruction in the class. In this model, 27% of the variance in pedagogical adaptivity can be explained by the GPK or the general pedagogical knowledge adaptivity, and the control variables, 3% of the instructional practice aspect is also explained. The main findings study investigate the relationship between the GPK, general pedagogical adaptivity in written lesson plans. The instructional practice using sample of 127 pre-service teacher at the beginning of their induction in Germany. Two research questions were addressed. First, we asked whether pre-service teachers GPK could be considered a significant predictor for the situation-specific skills, pedagogical adaptivity in written lesson plans. Second, we examine whether pedagogical adaptivity in written lesson plans would be reflected in pre-service teacher self-report of their instructional practices. Regarding to the first research question, we had hypothesized specific declarative or GPK of adaptivity, the knowledge differentiated instruction, as well as the knowledge of the use of the wide range of teaching methods, significantly predicted the situation-specific skills of pedagogical adaptivity. These findings show the pedagogical adaptivity in written lesson plans as construct as a specific focus, and that corresponds knowledge in the area of adaptivity as I can be regarded in the relevant knowledge base. Findings provide insights how pre-service teachers make use of the selection of their theoretical or the GPK where solving a specific problem of lesson plans. As empirical investigation into lesson planning is very scarce. The finding that a particular situation-specific skills of lesson planning is correlated with the corresponding decontextualized or GPK gives rise to the assumption that pre-service teacher lesson planning is not necessarily independent from their theoretical knowledge. Also, the findings also be interpreted in the way that they provide evidence for construct validity innovation approach measuring aspect of planning competence. My personal insight and reflection. Teachers are the primary mover. They are the agent for change for the life of young learners or their learners. The teacher's competence are always vary. Lesson plans must be in SMART. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bounded. Differentiated instruction in diverse learners. It is very useful to use differentiated instruction, especially for the young learners, so that they can understand better or they cater the multiple intelligences of the learners or the pupils. It gives a lot for knowledge, or you can cater their differences when you use differentiated instruction. Before I end my topic, I just want to read to you the quote that written by William Author Ward, saying that the mediocre teacher tells, a good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, The great teacher inspires. Thank you and have a good day.